Welcome to the bold analysis. I want to speak to Azimio governors in this analysis as I start that the ground softening scheme by Kenya Kwanza administration is a very good ground for Azimio governors to make sure that people get development projects. I know there has been a discussion in this country whether a governor that was elected in Azimio should have a soft spot for the national government. And of course, there have been prescription on constitutional prescription on the cooperation and the interaction between national and county government. But let me give you a hint that Kenya Kwanza administration is committed to soften the ground. People are saying mapema ndio best. Everyone is planning for himself. In Mombasa, Ahmed Nasir there was a flight, I think Dubai direct flight from Dubai to Mombasa. It's helping tourism industry there. In Homa Bay, Zakaria Jero, the transport CS was there. The county government gave land for construction of 400 units under the affordable housing project. Kakamega County, their airstrip is already working, and more are yet to come. I know that there have been also a bit of reservation because some have also seen and also looked at them that they might be private businesses, but then they're getting the support of the government. Of course, government cannot invest in everything, so sometimes the private injection is very good. Whether it's ground for softening or not, but the fact that it is a development at the ground to the people that supersedes the political bit. On that, I want us to head directly to Kakamega. And there is a story I want us to look at there. And it's one that has been causing a little bit of discussion. And I was having some informal talks with some few guys around the Western region on what exactly that means. Do you know Mumias sugar was wheeled back, and only after it was wheeled back like 1 month ago, then our president William Ruto flew to have a 2 days tour in Kakamega County, attended the Msindo Muliro graduation ceremony, met the Western leaders, and I think also a bit of official launching of the airstrip. And he did not visit Mumias Sugar. And this was initially seen as one of the key things that was in President William Ruto's diary. So according to reports that are emerging, is that President is considering revoking the 20-year lease of the Mumias sugar, which at one point was contributing to 60% of our sugar in the supply chain. And they want to revoke the 20 years lease of Sarai Group of companies. The company was leased to them, and the Sarai Group of companies, I think, is from Uganda. They have been struggling, and Sarai and the management have been struggling to get endorsement from the regional leaders. And on this one, you give it to my good friend Bullfighter, that only Abone Halwale visited the place, and I remember asking him whether there is processing going on, or we are just buying sugar from Uganda and repackaging. Remember, that is a discussion for another day whether we've ever had there. And now, according to this, I understand why President Ruto skipped Mumias Sugar and even never made a comment. Remember, even media coverage, from what I've been understanding, is even media coverage on that was low, despite of them trying to get attention so that they can show the country that it's real back and it's working. I know political pundits had seen that President Ruto left out the issue of Mumias simply because it was a project that will give the credit will go to former President Uhuru Kenyatta. But this may not be it. I support President Ruto on this because despite of government bailing the miller, for the last regimes have been trying to bail the miller, they have failed. They are systemic failures that at one point the Mumias Sugar was even under receivership. I think that was under KCB. So if the route that president is taking to maybe look at these companies, they should be making profit the same way Masai Mara is giving profit to Narok County government. So even Mumias Sugar should be making profit, the proceeds that can benefit the county government of Kakamega. On this, because they are saying that the government have been trying to bail even Mumias Sugar at one point, but nowhere. So Ruto was in the area, and I understand that they did not make any attempt even there, even though the management of the millet tried to get audience, but we cannot confirm whether that was granted. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also support our channel. The more you support this channel, the more it's growing from one level to the other. I want to agree that the millers should help the locals, and I just want to point out what, because we've had this problem with us for quite some time. I don't think the problem of this miller is something that is new. It's a problem that I think to some extent we had normalized it. It should it should actually help the locals. It should help the locals so that even the people who are going to employ it there. I was reading the newspaper because this story was covered. I just missed it there. I was reading the newspaper and they were saying, yes, it's here. At one point they were saying something. Kakamega Senator Malala, former Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala and Mumias Sugar Workers Union Chairman Patrick Mutimba have accused Sarai Group of evicting former employees who are living in the houses under the factory scheme to bring in new workers from Uganda and India. What has it that management of sugar is likely to land the Mumias, management of another company? They should not mention that company for ethos. So there are a lot of allegations on that. And if indeed we are actually importing the skilled labor to operate there, then on that offense, I think is simply getting it wrong. I know, and I read that even that article, I think the writer was actually saying that initially, before the election, they were supporting the other Azimio wing and they would have got their way through Azimio regime. But that is now changing with the new man in State House. Of course, that would also be a fate that can be seen. I need to say something that, of course, speaking to the voice of farmers, we need to motivate the sugarcane farmers. With our industry now, these problems that are affecting these industries are even demotivating the farmers, just like what is happening in the maize. And now even many people are not so much, they're not seeing the financial viability of the sugarcane farming in the region. So it must start. If we want to make sure that 60% of our sugar we can produce and process here, then it doesn't start from the company. It also needs to go back and motivate the farmers. I know that there have been stories of farmers that have never been paid for the last like 20 or so years. Debts even though government is planning to make sure that they are compensated. But you need to compensate those farmers, because unless, even if you are going to introduce a new management and the farmer is demotivated, then somehow we're even going to lack the raw materials. So it's something that needs to do. But on Mumias, President Ruto should institute a full audit, because there seems to be a problem somewhere. I don't think it cannot be that management is changed year in, year out, but nothing happens. Maybe there are some forces that are around it to make sure that it's grounded. Lastly, Western leaders. Western leaders. This, I think we must limit political interference. We must limit, whether you want to take political mileage or not, but we must limit political interference, because that's one of the biggest challenges. For now, I remember before this regime, there was a big split on who is supporting, who is not supporting. And because this is normally a perennial problem that we've had for long, because people use it for political purposes. It's only some few months general election is when someone will come up with a blueprint to make sure that the sugar miller is revived. But immediately after getting to power, that less of that is never seen. So I think with the President William Ruto coming in, there is nothing new that is going to do that has never been done. Even if it is changing the investor, I think we've changed. The investors have always been changed. If it's going to get, because when the politics in it comes up, when you inject politics in it, it lacks the value. And now that's where it loses direction, because with political interest, you realize that investors want to benefit, want to align themselves with different people. I was seeing that it has a potential of doing a remittance of 100 million to the county government of Kakamega. That's a huge amount of money, and that would be a very good booster for the Kakamega, or rather for the Western economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my take. Let's meet in the next.